Dead Draw Gaming. Like no one ever was.
Welcome back, everyone, to your top 4 from Madison Regionals. And I am Trevor Rosberg, sitting next to me.
I'm Patrick Mott. Alright, and Trevor, who do we have for top 4 today?
Top 4, we've got Jake Smith versus Brian Youm coming up on stream in a little bit.
Very, very interesting. We did see Brian Youm on stream yesterday. He was running chalk, if I remember correctly.
We've got chalk. We had that last round. We've got chalk again this round. This team is starting to become very, very popular ever since it first came up.
Yes. And we will see both of these players are vying for a spot in the top 2, who you'll see after this match. So let's take a look at what Jake is running, actually.
Jake, on the other hand, is running, for those of you who played VGC 17, you're going to recognize every single one of these Pokemon on it. It's
very, very interesting. We do see the addition of Intimiroar onto this team, along with Porygon 2, Mudsdale, Tapu Fini, Kartana, and probably the Mega Salamence.
So yeah, this is something you could have seen in VGC 17, except the only difference here is you're going to have the Mega Salamence, and you're going to have Intimiroar coming out as well.
Alright, and if I remember from yesterday, Brian Youm's chalk, it seems fairly standard with a very, utility Cresselia, sort of unlike the one that we saw from Paul Chua last game.
Yes, absolutely. It's more so utility-based. You're also going to be packing some utility in there, but last round you had more of the offensive Cresselia, seeing the Hidden Power Fire, actually, on the Cresselia.
Yes. Now, the question is, what will each player lead into this matchup? We see Brian Youm locking in fairly quickly. I do think he may lead with the Kangaskhan and probably Landers just to get intimidated and to have some fake-out pressure.
Another option is you could go right away with the Kangaskhan Kartana that we've seen him do before as well.
Very true, very true.
You could also have Tapu Fini. That's another option, but most likely we will be seeing a Kangaskhan lead to be able to always pressure that fake-out right off the bat.
Yes, and what do you think Jake Smith will be leading for this game?
Assuming that there might be a Kangaskhan lead, you could possibly see the Mudsdale come out right away.
That's true. Or, I don't think, this may happen, but there's a possibility of a double Intimidate lead with both Incineroar and Salamence, seeing as how Brian Youm doesn't have any competitive Pokemon or Pokemon with Defiant on his team. Absolutely, we can see that for sure. The issue is you've got to be very careful, though. If you lead those two, you've got almost no way of being able to touch the Heatran if that's in the back. That is true, and if Brian does decide to lead with Landers, who is, I believe, Choice Scarf, if I remember from yesterday, it threatens both Incineroar and Salamence. Yeah, we've got the Rock Slide pressure coming out that hits both of those super effectively. We'll have to see exactly what these players lead as we're getting into battle right now. Alright, Pokemon Trainer Error 606 going to lead out with Kangaskhan and Heatran. The Heatran right off the bat. Being able to see just right away, assuming that the Incineroar would be being led, being able to pressure it right away. Alright, and we do see the Kartana Incineroar coming out from Jake Smith's side, and we see Intimidate coming off, weakening that Kangaskhan's offensive potential. Now, I believe, this Kartana will be probably one of the fastest things on the field, and we may see a fake-out coming out from the Kangaskhan going into the Kartana just to break any possible focus sash that they may be holding. I think that makes absolute sense, and we might also just see the Incineroar going also for a fake-out on the other side. Or if Jake Smith wants to go a bit more offensive, he could go for a low kick into either of his opponent's Pokemon. If it has low kick, though. Some people do opt out of that and go for U-turn potentially as well. Oh, we do see fake out going into the Incineroar to be able to stop that from possibly going for it, as we see Heat Wave come out. I think that was a pretty good play from Brian Youm, seeing as how his Kangaskhan is faster than the Incineroar, and he wants to ensure that both of his Pokemon can attack this turn. And we do see Detect coming out of the Kartana, which means it is definitely not going to be Assault Vest, or most likely not a choice item either. Very true, very true. Now we will have to see how Jake will deal with this information that he has received this turn. And we see a Z move right away with a Bloom Doom coming out from this Kartana. Oh, very interesting, very interesting. Now, this is most likely going to go into the Kangaskhan slot. Absolutely. There's no reason you're going into a Heatran with a quad resisted hit. But I mean, if he did, that would have been a failed read. But we will see it go into the Kangaskhan slot. I wonder how much damage this will do to Brian Youm's Kangaskhan. Right away, just... Whoa, it hangs on with a sliver of HP. Looks like 1 health. And we see the Frustration, not doing too much, most likely due to the Intimidate and the Resist from the Kartana.
But if there was a Focus Sash, that would have been broken, but we just saw the Z move come out, and that was not enough to pick up the kill onto that Kangaskhan.
And Heatran just retaliating with a very powerful Heat Wave, and getting rid of that Shucka Berry
on
with
the Heatran. Yep.
Yeah. So Incineroar, a very good utility Pokemon with access to very good moves such as Fake Out and Knockoff.
We've also got the more uncommon ones. Some people like to put Will-O-Wisp on it if you want to be super supportive. Snarl's another option that it can have.
Very true. And it also gets moves like U-Turn as well, so it can swap in and out and bring back the Intimidate every turn.
And here comes the Mudsdale now.
Oh, very interesting. Mudsdale, a very, very slow Pokemon, immediately threatening that Heatran since it no longer has the Shucka Berry.
Yeah, there's no Shucka Berry. This thing can easily pick up a potential kill if it goes for something like a high horsepower or an Earthquake. But Earthquaking is most likely not going to be coming out since it does gain access to high horsepower.
That is very, very true. The question is, what will this Incineroar do? Will it opt to switch out to preserve Intimidate and a Fake Out for a future turn?
Whoa. Kangaskhan is the one that wants to leave the field.
Ingredients coming back in. Oh, we see the Cresselia coming back in case an Earthquake came out from the Mudsdale.
As Tapu Fini also comes in to completely be able to negate damage that the Heatran's going to be putting out this turn.
Very true. That Tapu Fini being able to pressure that Heatran with his water-type attacks. And we see Earth Power
revealed.
Oh, very interesting. And Rock Slide coming out from Mudsdale. Just a very, very safe play just to see what if either of Brian Pokemon would swap out.
Yep. Because in the situation that you are potentially high horsepowering the Heatran, if the Cresselia comes in, you're doing no damage at all that turn. So just a nice safe play to be able to make sure that you get damage on both Pokemon, assuming it hits.
Alright, the question is, I believe we may see something along the lines of maybe an Icy or Icy Wind coming out from the Cresselia just to deal some very massive damage to that Mudsdale.
Another option that we could see, though, from the Tapu Fini side, we could potentially have Muddy Water coming out. We could also have just a safe Calm Mind, since neither one of these Pokemon are threatening that right now.
Very true, and you saw how much damage that Heatran did to that Tapu Fini, so it can easily start setting up its Calm Minds, boosting its special defense, and it most likely has a Pinch Berry as well to restore 50%.
As we do
HP.
see the Calm Mind revealed, so it's not going to be a Choice Specs Tapu Fini. It's most likely going to be our more standard Pinch Berry Finis coming out.
Alright, we do see the Icy Wind coming out from the Cresselia, slowing down both of the opponent's Pokemon. And we'll see, this actually doesn't do too much damage to this Mudsdale. I wonder, it could be Assault Vested.
Could be Assault Vest, or it could just be extremely bulky on the special defense side.
Very true.
Or
and
the Cresselia could just not be super offensive here either.
And we do see Mudsdale's signature ability coming out, Stamina, giving it a +1 in defense with every hit it takes.
Yeah, so if that Kangaskhan ever comes back in and the high horsepower comes out, and that's going to be a clean kill on that Heatran.
That Heatran taking a massive hoof to the face, going down, no Shucka Berry to try and live that hit. Very, very unfortunate, but like you said, I do believe we will see the Kangaskhan returning. Oh, we do see the Tapu Fini
coming out, being able to pressure down with a potential Muddy Water, maybe a Scald.
The question is, will Jake leave his Mudsdale to just probably get a free switch into his Incineroar in the back, or will he try to preserve it for later on?
As we do see a Calm Mind coming out from the opposing Tapu Finis, so we've got two of them just sitting here content to boost up in front of the other one's face.
Alright, and we do see a Z move coming out. Oh, Psychium Z, like we saw last game, coming up from the Cresselia.
Cresselia hits the field again and is going to be firing off what we assume is going to be
possibly Z Psychic.
So, yep.
Shattered
we do
Psyche.
see this coming out, and who's it going to be targeting? I feel like you want that Mudsdale.
Very true. That Mudsdale, not the bulkiest thing in special defense, but let's see if it can pick up the KO, and it does!
Cleanly kill that down after it was down to half health.
Alright.
We see the Moonblast fired off, most likely into the Tapu Fini, and there it is, trying to get some chip damage.
Oh, the special attack drop. So now this Brian Youm's Fini won't be hitting as hard as Jake Smith's, but the question is, can Jake pull back?
Yeah, not in the greatest situation here. You do still have the Incineroar, but you're facing down a Tapu Fini, and your Kartana's already gone. You've got no way of really hitting for super effective into that Tapu Fini.
That's very true. The Incineroar being able to pressure right now with Fake Out, I believe it may go into Tapu Fini just because it hits that Incineroar for super effective damage. And we do see
that come out. As we see the flinch and a Psychic goes off into that Tapu Fini.
Dealing a decent amount of damage, just chipping it down below 50%, and the Moonblast going into the Cresselia.
Potentially predicting a Protect on the Tapu Fini and not wanting to double into it with the Fake Out pressure.
That is very true, and the Cresselia did get the Fini got a special attack drop on the Cresselia, meaning that this Cresselia won't be hitting as hard with its Psychics.
So here we see this situation, though. We do know that the Kangaskhan is in the back, but that thing's still sitting on what looked like 1 or 2 health points only.
That is very true, but that Kangaskhan can pressure with Fake Out and the possible Sucker Punch onto either of Jake's Pokemon for some priority damage before it goes down.
Absolutely. We'll have to see just what these players do. I think the Tapu Fini is still just trying to go offensive, but the Calm Mind coming out on Brian's side, just being able to sit here and definitely just take the hits.
I think that is very good because we saw earlier, both of Jake's Pokemon can deal a lot of damage to this Tapu Fini. So
as we see an Icy Wind fired off from Cresselia, doing next to 0 damage to either of these Pokemon, slowing them down.
So we want to ensure that his Kangaskhan, when it comes in, can fire off a powerful, like, I believe, was it Return? Or Frustration. Both of them are used interchangeably onto either of these Pokemon without having to rely on the priority of Sucker Punch.
As we see the Muddy Water fired off, trying to get potentially these accuracy drops, as he is able to connect on both, but no accuracy drops coming out on Jake's side.
And we do see the Misty Terrain disappearing. Not really influential in this match, but if Jake decides to go for a Flare Blitz, he may
get that 10% burn onto something that could definitely help in the end. As we see Muddy Water fired off from the +1 special attack on Brian's side.
Those Icy Winds coming in clutch, picking up the kill on the Incineroar as well.
So now Jake's sitting in a 1v3 situation as another Icy Wind comes off. That's going to do probably a little less than 10 damage onto this Tapu Fini.
Let's see, can it get into Pinch Berry range?
And it's just out of that Pinch Berry range.
Oh no, it
did get it.
And we see it restore 50% of its health. Now let's see what this Tapu Fini goes for. The safe Muddy Water dealing some spread damage onto both of Brian's Pokemon.
Open for some potential accuracy drops to bail him out of this game from here.
Oh, missing the KO on that Cresselia. That must hurt.
Might be better to not get that kill though.
I mean, it could be because you could simply protect next turn to stop the Fake Out, but that may lead to...
That may lead to the opposing Tapu Fini, though, going for a Calm Mind on the free turn.
Very true. We see Moonblast coming out, dealing some good damage onto Jake's Fini, and a Psychic coming out as well.
As we do see Muddy Water, and the opposing Tapu Fini does avoid that, and that's the one thing that he needs to start being able to pressure down.
And we do see both hits from Brian Youm's Pokemon brought that Fini about to where it was before the Pinch Berry. So
yeah, now that this Kangaskhan's coming in, it's definitely not looking pretty for him.
And especially due to the Icy Winds earlier in the game, this Kangaskhan doesn't really even have to Fake Out. It can easily just go for return to KO the Fini.
Absolutely. This game definitely looks like it's going to be over, and we're going to have to probably hit game 2 off this to see exactly how it goes.
We do see the Fake Out, just making sure that Fini won't be moving this turn, getting it down very low.
As we do see the Calm Mind come out, just to be able to boost up even more, so that he plays to this win condition of the Tapu Fini here.
Brian wants to ensure that he gets this KO, not wanting to take any chances with any rolls that may happen. All right. I mean, if I were Jake, I would be trying to think of like, how would I lead into next game to try and stop this powerful chalk team that Brian Youm is using.
I think more than anything, missing that kill on that Kangaskhan definitely hurt, and also he needs. If that Tapu Fini does come back again, you need to make sure that you have some way of being able to answer that thing.
Yes, that is very true. We saw both players shake, both acknowledging that they would be moving on to game 2 as well.
Yeah, they definitely just need some answer to that Tapu Fini.
That was a very, very close game. Those Icy Winds coming in handy towards the end of the game, slowing down that Tapu Fini more and more every turn.
Yeah, every turn, just being able to make sure that your team is going to be going faster definitely helps. The damage did eventually add up. It was only doing around 5 damage a turn, but just that damage does help a lot.
Yeah, every bit of chip damage counts in VGC because you never know, it may help you with a future roll as well.
Absolutely.
We see
Brian's already locked in, potentially just going with the same team as he had to be able to win game 1.
That is very true. Or you could try to switch it up, trying to see, like, he probably predicting how Jake will lead and seeing how he can counter that for next game.
So, as we saw, he did not have the Kartana, he did not have the Landorus, but Really, the Kartana's only purpose that he might have here is going to be taking out the opposing Tapu Fini, but he was able to do it, or Brian was able to take out Jake's Tapu Fini anyway.
Now that is very true. Now the question is, will Jake try to set up Trick Room this match? Because we did not see the Porygon 2 at all.
We might be seeing Porygon 2 come out, because Porygon 2 can definitely feel free to stall out with the recovers, but if that Tapu Fini Calm Minds up, unless you're packing Thunderbolt or something else, it's typically pretty hard to be able to hit that Tapu Fini.
That is very true, and in my opinion, we see two of the bulkiest ducks on the screen right now, Porygon 2 and Cresselia.
Both of them just sitting there going to be able to take hits for free.
Yeah, and both of them getting access to a very reliable recovery with Porygon 2's recover and the possible Moonlight on that Cresselia.
Moonlight's definitely a possibility, but that has not been seen too often, and we did see the Icy Wind, we saw Psychic. It most likely has, we would assume, Trick Room to be able to counter opposing Trick Room, and then
for the last move, it could have something along the lines of maybe Helping Hand or the possible Ally Switch, which we've seen on several other Cresselias as
absolutely.
Well.
So as we see, the exact same lead comes out from Brian's side.
All right. We'll have to see. I am anxious because this is top 4 and next is finals. So
yeah, from there,
this will determine which one of these two players we'll be seeing in next round. Very interesting. We'll see same lead from Brian, as you said.
But the Mudsdale and the Tapu Fini coming out right away from Jake. This Mudsdale lead definitely pressuring the Heatran right away, and not being able to. You can just ignore the hit that this Kangaskhan's going to hit into you.
Now the question is, that figure will actually give that Mudsdale a +2 if it decides to.
Any hit that fires into that Mudsdale would give it a +2 from this Kangaskhan, which definitely counters that Parental Bond ability.
That's very true. But all this Mudsdale has to worry about is this the special attacks from this Heatran.
Yep, we'll have to see just what happens here, and the Tapu Fini does flinch as Heat Wave comes out, and Mudsdale avoids it.
Avoiding the Heat Wave, that would have been a lot of damage.
And that Mudsdale didn't protect or anything, as we see a high horsepower fired off.
Will the Shuckle Berry be enough, though? I'm curious. It does. It
barely hangs on from that because of that Shuckle Berry, making it only a normal super effective move as opposed to a quad.
Now, you do remember earlier when Intimidate Incineroar was released, everyone discarded Heatran, but now we see Heatran maybe coming back with a vengeance.
Now that we see Incineroar all over the place and Landorus is falling away, we might just see Heatran start to pop up more on these teams.
And especially, as we see here, the Shuckle Berry allows Heatran to live any one ground-type attack and get off damage anyways with a Heat Wave, Flash Cannon, or Earth Power.
We see Kartana swapping in on that slot.
I think that's a bit risky, seeing as how that Heatran went for a Heat Wave last turn.
I think Jake might have been predicting that something goes away, or that the Heatran goes away.
Or it may try to double up into the Tapu Fini with a possible Flash Cannon or Earth Power.
But I believe this Tapu Fini does outspeed Heatran, so if it lands this muddy water, he's going to be in a fine situation. And it looks like it has.
No misses coming out from Jake's side, picking up the clean KO.
Able to kill that Heatran when it's low.
And this Kartana coming in for free. And as we saw last game, this is the Gracium Z Kartana.
So there's, depending on what's in the back, it's going to be very difficult to be able to get rid of this. As we see the opposing Kartana hit the field now.
Now we'll have to see. I'm not sure because we have to see if either of these Kartana has some bulk investment that may affect the speed tie as well. If one of the players did not invest fully into speed.
As we see Tapu Fini retreat and go into the Salamence, firing off the Intimidate. And if there was a Leaf Blade going into that Salamence going to take next to 0 damage.
That is very true. And Salamence, I think, a very versatile Pokemon.
As we do see the Bloom Doom firing off, most likely to clean up this Kangaskhan right away.
All right, we'll have to see how much damage this will do. But, I think getting this Salamence in is very, very good for Jake, because if he has Tailwind, he can set up for the rest of the game as well, or he can fire off powerful Hyper Voices to deal some massive damage to the opposing side.
Not to mention fire coverage is also a possibility. Salamence does learn Fire Blast, it learns Flamethrower, and coming in on that Kartana, if he's packing one of those, that can definitely pressure out the Kartana.
And it also has access, to Hydro Pump to possibly cover
that's one of the surprise moves that people can be running on that.
And we do see the Sacred Sword going into the Kartana. I think that did about 50%. So I think that either Brian Youm's Kartana is bulkier, or no, because Jake Smith's Kartana went before. So I think Brian Youm may be having a bulkier Kartana.
Brian Youm, I believe we saw him on stream, and I believe it was an Assault Vest Kartana that he had,
Yes,
so it's
yes.
most likely going to be much bulkier than Jake Smith's, which seems very offensive,
Yes.
carrying that Grassium Z.
And we see Salaman's Mega Evolving right now, wanting to get off some massive damage.
As the Tapu Fini goes for the Protect right away, just trying to save itself. As Salamence does reveal it is carrying Flamethrower.
Let's see, will this be enough? It is
Absolutely.
enough, the quad effective, and we saw how bulky this Kartana was earlier, and seeing
There
how
was
much.
no way that it could take that hit.
Times 4 effective Flamethrower from a Mega Salamence, that was some massive damage.
From here, how do you think Brian's going to be adjusting now that Jake has made his adjustments?
It is Tapu Fini against roll. I think Brian Youm should try, we see him forfeit, trying to go into next match and pick up the win.
So how do you think he's going to adjust, knowing now that there's most like that Salamence is definitely pressuring things out
Yes.
as long as you have that Kartana.
I think that he may try to lead. He didn't bring the Cresselia or the Landorus this game, so
Yeah, neither one of them hit the field,
I
so there
believe-
wasn't the icy wind pressure from the Salamence.
or the
We'll have
Rock
to see.
Slide. I believe that we may see either one of those two returning in Game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of those definitely has to come back.
If I'm Brian Youm, I would my team composition would probably consist of Cresselia, Heatran, Kangaskhan, and possibly the Tapu Fini for the setup in the late
I
game.
think the Tapu Fini definitely is needed, though, to be able to answer down the Mudsdale and the potential Salamence, but I think you definitely need a good check to be able to hit that Salamence.
That is very true, Trevor, very true. And can Jake keep up the pressure from the last game and try and get the win to enter into top 2?
We did see, though, that the high horsepower is not enough to get the clean kill on this Heatran, though.
Very interesting. So we will have to probably get the double up into the Heatran if Jake wants to get that out right away.
Another potential, though, he did have the Cresselia and the Heatran out on the field at one time. He could also go for, if he is carrying Ally Switch, you could Ally Switch, and the Heatran will be, the ground move will be going into the Cresselia instead, doing absolutely nothing because of Levitate.
Very, very true, Trevor. And we'll have to see how both these players lead into going into Game 3. Now this is essentially going. They're gunning for the #1 spot here at Madison Regionals. So it's on the line for both players.
Yeah, both players trying to fight this out. As we do see
Kartana
the
Cresselia
Kartana and Cresselia lead coming out this time.
immediately pressuring both. It's counter. I believe it's a direct counter to Jake's lead right
from
now.
the previous game, yeah.
We see Icy Wind and Leaf Blade from Brian's side can pressure both of Jake's Pokemon.
Yeah, Brian Youm definitely getting the advantage here on this initial lead. Being able to see exactly what Jake did Game 2 and hoping he'd do it again.
That's true. I mean, like in this case, the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, sort of comes back to bite Jake in this situation.
Yeah, Brian Youm definitely adjusting here, as we are most likely going to see a Leaf Blade into one of these two slots. He just needs to guess which one's not going to be swapping into the potential Salamence in the back.
That's very true. I do, like you said, the Salamence could be swapping in here as well, or the Incineroar.
Incineroar definitely going to be able to take the hit as well.
Yeah, Incineroar countering both these two Pokemon with a knockoff and Flare Blitz, pressuring Brian Youm as well.
As we see Tapu Fini protect right away.
No switch outs from Jake Smith's side, which is very interesting.
As we do
protect.
just see the double protect, scouting to see just who Brian's going to be trying to take down, possibly.
We see Leaf Blade going into the Mudsdale slot, and in Icy Wind
trying to slow things down as well.
I believe that combo probably would have knocked out that Mudsdale, seeing as how, like, even if this Mudsdale is holding an Assault Vest, it is not super specially bulky.
Definitely. Depends how much that Leaf Blade can do, though, to it, because we've seen that this is a bulkier Kartana on Brian's side. It might be able to take the hit, and if it's carrying a potential berry, it could heal back up.
Very true, and we see the Leaf Blade missing out on the KO on this Tapu Fini, bringing it into the pinch berry range, restoring 50% of its health. That bulk, all that bulk, missing out on that KO on the Tapu Fini.
Yeah, absolutely. When you invest that much into bulk, you are losing a little bit of its attack that it could possibly have if you just invest fully into the attack on it.
However, the thing is, Brian will have to protect this. Jake will have to protect this turn if he wants to preserve his Tapu Fini, since he did get a Calm Mind off, and neither of his Pokemon have gone down.
Icy Wind fired off again, just slowing things down, potentially trying to slow down whatever swaps in. But Mudsdale gets that stamina boost to be able to take, in case the Leaf Blade comes in, it could help help that take it much better.
And we see that bulk, that Kartana's bulk coming in handy with the high horsepower coming out from the Mudsdale, doing just under 50% to.
Yeah, meaning that there's going to have to be some other hit if this Mudsdale goes for another high horsepower into that slot.
Now we'll have to see. Will Brian predict a possible protect on the Tapu Fini and double up into the Mudsdale? And if that doesn't happen, does the Mudsdale have superpower to try and pick up the KO onto this Kartana?
That could definitely have. Mudsdale does learn superpower. If it is carrying superpower on it, you can easily clean up this kill from here with it.
We'll just have to see. I am on the edge of my seat. This is a pretty intense game. Like, especially like Chalk versus something from VGC 17.
Yeah, this team is strictly a VGC 17 team, it seems.
And we see Salamence coming in. That's a bit risky, seeing as how that Cresselia just fired off an Icy in the previous turn.
It might possibly just know that it could be able to take the hit, or that maybe this Cresselia is trying to mix it up. As we do see Leaf Blade firing into the Salamence, dealing 0 damage to it.
Very true. No, and we see the Psychic. Oh, that was a pretty good prediction on Jake's part. Psychic going into the Mudsdale, bringing it about to 50%. And
this
we'll have to see high horsepower, no superpower coming out from Jake's side, and missing out on the critical hit, cleaning up the KO on the Kartana.
Definitely mattering there, since we saw before that did around 45%. That thing would be sitting nice and comfortably without that. Well, not nice and comfortably, but it'd still be alive.
Yeah, and especially, it will probably be one of the fastest things on the field. It could simply, it could probably pick up the KO on the Mudsdale the next turn.
Yeah, now we're in the situation that Tapu Fini comes back in, and neither one of these Pokemon likes to be sitting against this Tapu Fini.
That is very true. Tapu Fini being able to pressure with Muddy Water or Moonblast onto either of Jake's Pokemon. Brian Youm's team right now seems to be countering Jake Smith's choices for this match.
As we do see the Mega Salamence coming out, most likely going to be firing off something along the lines of Hyper Voice.
We may see a Double Edge actually trying to pick up a Cleo.
As we do see it.
There says D. Dragon.
There's a D.
Double Edge. I believe it's a Double Edge.
It's most likely going to be a Double Edge into that Tapu Fini, trying to get rid of it. As we see a Calm Mind come off, we'll have to check the health bars.
Who did it go into? We'll have to check. Icy Wind.
As Icy Wind's fired off here.
Let's see. Can the Salamence live the Icy Wind? Maybe. It does.
It does.
Oh, very interesting.
It is able to live that Icy Wind, and Mudsdale's still sitting here comfortably.
Mudsdale not going anywhere. So, like, this Mudsdale has just been sitting here, firing off some high horsepower.
Another high horsepower come off.
Into the Fini. So that Double Edge probably went into the Cresselia.
As we see Cresselia missing health, and it doing just under half, though.
All right. So the question is, what can Jake Smith do this turn? Will he try to go and pick up the KO onto the Tapu Fini or the Cresselia, because that Double Edge didn't get the KO as well, so we'll have to see what he does this turn.
Something interesting to note is that Salamence, if it is max speed and that Tapu Fini isn't very fast, you will be able to outspeed that for a Double Edge here.
That's very true. I mean, trading a Salamence for that Tapu Fini, I probably would not mind that trade.
As we do see no Protect coming out, and that Double Edge goes right into the Cresselia again.
Oh, missing out on the KO, the Sliver. Oh my gosh. And no Pinch Berry from the Cresselia, and the Muddy Water coming in to pick up the KO on that Mudsdale. Man, it is not looking too good for Jake Smith. Quite in the trap pinch he is in here, if I do say so myself.
However, depending on what he's got coming in now, we do know that the Tapu Fini's in the back, but if there's also a Kartana in the back, he's not in too bad of a situation, I feel.
That is very true. We'll have to see. We see the Fini coming back on and putting the Misty Train right back out. And the Kartana
is in the back.
Oh man, that Kartana pressuring both these Pokemon, being the fastest thing on the field, being able to either pick off that Cresselia or try to knock out that Fini.
Yeah, right away, if you're thinking that this Tapu Fini might protect, you could just go right into this Cresselia and get yourself a free Beast Boost.
I mean, I think... Oh, we see the Ally Switch coming out. I mean, I think Jake Smith probably went into the Cresselia slot with the Leaf Blade. Oh,
as he did go into the Cresselia slot to get the kill, maybe thinking there was a Protect.
And will we see the Muddy Water coming out from the...
Or potentially a Calm Mind as well to boost up.
Calm Mind!
He does go for Calm Mind.
Oh, Jake Smith, he is getting out of that corner.
Free kill.
Oh my gosh. Chat, I think this is pretty hype right now. Like, let us know. I want to see you guys
Brian Youm
after
throws out a handshake we see on stream.
Oh, Brian Youm probably conceding defeat based on the last Pokemon.
And the Kangaskhan is in the back, and we have seen That if this Kangaskhan has no way of really protecting itself from what would be the Bloom Doom into its slot.
That is very true. All what Jake Smith has to do is to double protect and just essentially stop the fake out.
Stop the fake out pressure.
And the match was forfeited.
Coming out.
Oh my
Jake
gosh.
Smith pulls it out.
Brian Youm, he went undefeated yesterday, but we see him losing here top 4.
Yesterday,
very interesting.
Yesterday he ended up going 13-1 overall in terms of games.
Really?
He only dropped one single game to Adi, and I believe it was round 5.
Yes, we did it. We had him on stream that time, right?
Or no, it was round 5 or 6 was the first time he lost a game.
Very interesting. Wow, that was a very close game. It really came down to Game 3's team compositions.
Yeah, I think Game 3 though, he called the adjustment on the swap though.
That is very true.
He had such a strong lead, but the bulk invest on that Kartana, it was not able to pick up the kill on the Tapu Fini, which ended up really biting him in the end.
Yeah, and that prediction on the ally switch was crucial.
I don't know if it was a predict on an ally switch or predicting a protect. There could have been a protect on the Tapu Fini as well, and he was able to just trying to get the kill on the Cresselia even.
Either way, we will be right back very soon for a possible player interview with Jake Smith, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back. And we are back here with Jake Smith, the winner of your top 4. How do you feel about that win?
Honestly, it was pretty scary because I did go 6-1 in Swiss, and Brian Youm was actually my one Swiss loss. He beat me pretty convincingly 2-0 in Swiss, so I was a little nervous going into the top 4 match because he did beat me. So I didn't really know how to play around his team because it is a really solid team. He did just top cut Roanoke with it as well.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows how to use it, and it's a scary team.
Yeah, the chalk team has definitely been popping up all over the place now that we've been seeing it. Game 3, what did you feel about the leads?
Honestly,
as soon as you saw that adaptation from him.
I was thinking he was going to lead Crest, but I didn't think he was going to lead Cart. So I ended up leading the same leads as I made in Game 2. And I was like, okay, if he leads Kang and Crest, I'm probably going to Muddy Water and Rock Slide. So that way, no matter who he fakes out, I can chip the Kangaskhan to get some damage on it for my cart in the back. Because after Game 1, knowing that Bloom Doom doesn't actually
it looked like it lived
out.
on 1 or 2 health only.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that it was always get knocked out, so I was going to get it chipped. And he ended up leading cart, which was really off smart on his part, because what that did was threaten both my Mudsdale and my Fini right off.
Yeah, with the Leaf Blade coming out. But knowing that it was AV Kartana, did that help though? Because it definitely seemed like he was an extremely bulky Kartana compared to offense-wise.
Yeah, not really. All it did was basically, after seeing my high horsepower damage, seeing it was bulky, kind of knowing that he was a bulkier set made me think that he maybe didn't have Protect, so it was a little easier to throw attacks to it. But honestly, Assault Vest Cart, it's more trouble to my Fini since I can't really damage it.
Yeah.
And then high horsepower, as you saw, didn't even do over 50%. I did get a lucky crit, which is
though,
a little unfortunate for him because he lost his one thing to beat my my Tapu Fini, which I didn't think he had Kangaskhan in the back after I saw his cart, his crest, and his own Tapu Fini. I thought his last mon would be Heatron. So if it was Heatron, my Fini was my game plan against that. So if he actually didn't get crit and was able to knock out my Fini and had Heatron in the back, the game would have been a lot different.
I believe you would still have potential answers, though. I don't know how much a Sacred Sword can do, but still, you do have some outs to it, I feel. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I actually want to give a big shout-out to Mr. Jambad for writing the best competitive guide to Pokemon that you can ever read. Go pick his book up. It's on Amazon.com. And a big shout-out to the guys at the Mount Silver Discord as well, because those guys helped me team build and team test, get my teams ready for tournaments. And a big shout-out to Team Ohio as well, because they did help me with that stuff as well, and preparing for my top 8 and top 4 matches. And I am from Ohio, so they're just my family.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Anything for the stream? Anyone? Or chat, rather?
I'm glad you guys are watching. This was actually my first match that I was ever on stream at a regional for, so I was a little nervous, but I'm glad that I was able to not embarrass myself in front of all you guys.
Absolutely not. You got a second one coming up, though. Hope you're ready for that one.
I'm not sure who won the other top 2
I
match,
don't believe we've heard yet, but we'll know in a moment when we start setting everything up. Anything else you want to say, though?
Nope, that should be it from me.
All right, we'll see you guys right back in a bit with the finals coming up.
See you guys.
See you soon.